The human mind. What is the human mind? It's powerful, it's underestimated, we don't put much value into it, and yet it controls our every action, our every movement, our every interaction that we have with people. Yet we know so little about the human mind. Why is that? In this video, I hope to explain the answer to these questions. Recently, I watched ID Invaded. It's all about traveling into the subconscious mind. No, not like Inception. It's more such as traveling into the minds of serial killers, into the minds of people that have done terrible things to other people. And they travel within their minds to be able to understand why they did it and how it happened. Because the mind is powerful. What we allow into our heads can control our interactions. It can control how we view the world. Without having the power of the mind, we would be nothing but a husk. The mind has many different traits and characteristics, and everybody's mind will be different than the person next to them. The reason for this is due to an effect called nature versus nurture. There was a study done years ago between two twins because they wanted to find out whether or not nature had an impact on the person's characteristics growing up, or if they would just grow up how they were supposed to, regardless of where they were at due to their nurturing. So the nurtured child and the natured child both went down different paths. They had their own interactions, they interacted with other people, and yet they still ended up at the same place later in their life. So it kind of shows you what is real when it comes to nature versus nurture. Anything can be possible if we just set our minds to it. If we don't put our minds to what we truly want, then we won't be able to obtain what we truly need. This anime taught me a lot about what the mind is really like. Everybody's mind is going to be different. Some people's are going to be fragmented. Some are going to be dark. Some are going to have lightning. Some are going to be mysterious. Everybody's mind is going to be different because everybody thinks in a different way. And lately there's been this thing going around the internet where it's like, do you think in words, images, or neither? At first, I thought there was only words and images. I soon found out that there is also a thing called no thought whatsoever, and that appears to be what I have. I can think without actually thinking, but I can also think in words, and I can also think in images. There's a massive variety of ways that I can think that allow for me to be able to view the world in the way that I see the world, because I'm able to see it from 3 different perspectives. A man is what he thinketh. I think, therefore I am. I believe that these 2 quotes can be seen throughout this whole anime because it shows that you are what your thoughts become. Your thoughts are how you define yourself. If you're thinking negatively, you're going to have a negative view. If you're thinking positively, you're going to have a positive view. And throughout the whole series, there's this character called John Walker, and he has been manipulating 7 individuals into committing mass murders for his own joy. The same thing happens to normal people. Maybe not to the degree of mass murder, but it happens to people that they are influenced from outside sources to think in a negative way. This is just how it is. You can get out of that way of thinking if you're able to identify that person or those negative thoughts that have entered your mind, and by doing so, it'll free you to have more freedom to progress forward because you won't be held back by those preconceived notions that other people have set in forth for who you were supposed to be or who they thought you needed to become. The mind is amazing. I can't say anything other than that. It's incredible to see the growth that can happen over years, months, decades. If you focus on one thing in particular, you're going to be able to view yourself in ways that you never thought possible. It's going to bring to life new outlooks, new people, new ideas, new conversations, new environments that you maybe never thought you would be put in. Yet from training the mind and going within, you were able to understand what was needed to overcome those hardships. We can be capable of many things if we're willing to dedicate our mind to it. If we want to catch a serial killer, if we want to improve our well-being, If we want to become better individuals who people look up to and respect, we can do that through the power of our mind. Our mind gives us power. Our mind gives us feelings. These feelings become power when we allow for ourselves to understand them. Because I bet you've been in a moment where your emotions have taken over and you wanted to yell, scream, shout, and just fight anybody that's standing in front of you because you wanted to release those emotions that you were feeling. Through understanding the mind, you don't have to feel those emotions in the way that you do. You can feel them for the short period of time that is needed, but they don't have to live on within your mind indefinitely. Most people get stuck in their own heads. I know I've been there. When I would smoke a lot of weed in college, and later in my life too, I would go internal, which it's not a bad thing. I think it can help you understand yourself and improve certain aspects of your life that you're looking to improve if you're willing to listen to what yourself has to say. If you're unwilling to listen, then introspection is not going to be for you. Going within is not going to have any benefit. You're going to want to use that introspection time to show you that the world that you view in front of you is only in your imagination. And that's why we suffer more in imagination than we ever do in reality. All the events that transpired through ID Invaded, the question is were these events determined or non-determined? There's this saying that everything in life is going to happen the way that it should happen. And regardless of what you do, you don't have free will at the end of the day. You might think that what you do, you're doing out of free will. There's a lot of people in the world that don't believe that to be true. They believe that what really is to happen is supposed to happen regardless of whether or not you want it to happen, because there is determinism and there is free will. We can decide which one we want to follow. I believe certain things are supposed to happen how they are, but I also do believe that there are certain aspects where we can control or view the world in the way that we need to due to free will. Some events I believe have to happen so that you can become the person that you need to become. Without those events, that wouldn't be determinism. There are other times though where you do have the choice. It's like, do you want to go down this path? Do you want to go right and be this person, or would you rather go left and be this person? I think that's where the free will aspect comes in. And when I had that option, I decided to go right, and I could not be more grateful than the choice that I made. Those events after I chose to go right versus going left, those events after that, I believe were determined. They were set in stone. What has happened because that's just how it was meant to be. A lot of people, and let me know what you think in the comments, do you think that we are more determined to live the life that we live, or do we have free will, or do we have a little bit of both? My belief is we have both. You guys can disagree with me, you can agree with me. It's honestly up to your own discretion, and think about it a little bit more. I'd recommend this book called, I believe, Free Will by Sam Harris. Great book. Our minds can be used in powerful ways. They can be completely useless. They can create massive machines, inside worlds. They can develop. They can consume, they can create. Our minds have the power to do anything that we set them to do. And there's a saying from Ernest Nightingale where when you set sail on a ship, that ship is going to go in that direction, just as the mind. When you set a direction in the mind will find the path to be able to find the destination. If the ship has no direction, the ship is going to go nowhere. It's going to stay docked. When the mind has no direction, the mind is going to stay docked doing what Sisyphus does, pushing the rock up the hill. You want to have a true happy life? Set sail, find a direction, set goals, use the mind's full power and capability, because by doing so, it's going to improve. You're going to see much improvement in your own life due to the fact that you set sail, that you chose a direction. This direction, you might not have 100% end goal of where it could be, but at least choose a path of where you think you want to be, and then you can course correct over the years, and you'll see how much it really helps to have goals. I think that everything that we do, there is a purpose to it. We might not know what that purpose is until later in life, but I do believe that everything that we do within our minds has a purpose. We have to find ways to create this purpose and show that this purpose is meant to be. There might be moments in your life that you wish wouldn't have happened. There might be moments in your life that you would love to relive again. I know I have both. More that I want to relive than ones that I don't. And I think that you can do the same thing as well by just growing, by trying new things, by talking to new people, by just being a generally good person who listens and understands other people. If you have something that you've ever wanted to do in your life, go do it. Give it a try. Because at the end of the day, what's the worst thing that's going to happen? You'll learn something. You'll look back on it and be like, I'm glad I did that. Or you'll be like, I'm glad I at least gave it a try. It's kind of cringeworthy now when I look back at it, but it taught me. It taught me a lot. It taught me how to communicate. It taught me how to think. It taught me how to write. It taught me how to create. It taught me how to interact and how to be alone. I just want to say thank you to everyone that does watch my videos, that enjoys the content that I do. I'm trying to make it interesting. I wanted to have an impact on some people. Hopefully you. If it does, I'm grateful. I'll keep doing what I'm doing and we'll just keep going from there. Small now, but with patience, time, practice, reflection, using the power of the mind, I think this can be big. I think it can be bigger than any of us imagine. I know it can be big, and it will be, because when we set our minds to do something and we have the goals, the ambition, the drive, the focus, the determination, we make it happen. Until next time.